Hi, good afternoon. So, in the last class, we had started talking about the labor laws, right? The labor codes, rather. And we had gone ahead and we had done two labor codes in the previous class. I want to finish this topic today. So, we want to begin talking about the remaining labor codes, right? And we had gone ahead and we had taken care of this one, which is Code of Wages 2019. And we had gone ahead and we had studied another one, which was the Social Security Code of 2020. Let us now talk about the Industrial Relation Code of 2020. So, as I told you, these codes are basically introduced to help ease out the process of so many labor laws that were earlier existing. पहले ये हाल था कि इतने सारे labor laws थे that it was becoming very conflicting and very difficult to understand what to follow and what not to follow. And also there was a disparity among these labor laws between different states, right? Like, for example, I had given you the example of minimum wages. So here also the aim of industrial relation code is to ensure that there is a common labor law across different states. And especially this is very, very important because this ensures that when there is a job loss, right? When a worker is no more having a job, he will get benefit under Atal Bimat Vyakti Kalyan Yojana. This is an important yojana which you need to remember. Atal Bimat Vyakti Kalyan Yojana, right? Now, under this Atal Bimat Vyakti Kalyan Yojana, if you remember in the last class, I had gone ahead and I had shown you that there is a portal where the organized and unorganized sector can get insurance, right? And that portal was called as the ESI portal. You remember we showed this thing. So basically what happens here also, that there only, if you look at this ESI portal on the left hand side, there was this scheme coming up, Atal Bimat Vyakti Kalyan Yojana. Now, under this, any worker who is under the organized sector or who has gone ahead and who has enrolled himself on this platform, he or she will go ahead and get financial aid from the government if they lose their job. So if they lose their job, they will be getting financial aid from the government. And this type of unemployment allowance is something which will be admissible under the ESI scheme, which means that it is something which you will be getting if you are enrolled on this portal under the ESI scheme. Also, what happens is that it has been seen that when a person loses their job, then to get a new job, they also need to reskill themselves. They need some other kind of skill to get the right quality of job or to get the right job. So it has also been suggested that at the time of retrenchment, a worker would be provided 15 days wage for reskilling, right? So this wage will be credited to his account, and this amount will be given to him so that he can enable himself to learn new skills. Now, many of us can also go ahead and can also kind of, debate on the fact that 15 days is a very less period to go ahead and to learn new skills. Of course, that is the case. But, we know that no policy is 100% intact, right? And here, this is the maximum period for which they are given wages for reskilling during the retrenchment, at the time of retrenchment, right? The wage would be credited directly into the bank account of the worker so that to enable him to learn new skills. So that this worker can go ahead and learn new skills, this wage directly goes into his bank account. Faster justice to worker through the tribunal. So we have made a particular tribunal where the workers can go ahead and lodge their disputes, and it has been ensured that faster justice is given to them. In particular, it has been ensured that justice is given to them within 1 year. Within 1 year, whatever dispute they have, whatever issue they have raised, they would be given justice to that issue. Industrial tribunals to have two members to facilitate faster disposal of the cases. In the industrial establishment, a trade union having, this is very important, having 51% of vote shall be recognized as the sole negotiating union which can make agreements with the employers. So if you have created a union and you have 51% of the votes or more votes, then you can go ahead and you can represent the laborers. You can go ahead and represent the labor body, right? So you will be the sole negotiating union which can make arrangements or agreements with the employers. जो भी बात होगी यूनियन के थ्रू employer के साथ हो सकती है, but you should have more than 51% of the votes, 51 or more than 51. Now, if there is no trade union who gets 51% of the vote, so us case mein what has been suggested is that there will be a negotiating council of trade union that will be constituted for making agreement with the employer. This would be established by the state only. The state will help you establish a union which will make agreements with the employer. Okay. Now let's go to the next one. The next one that we need to go ahead and do, that is basically occupational safety, health and working condition code, right? Okay. Now in the occupational safety, health and working condition code, basically the keyword here is for you to remember interstate migration labors or interstate migrants. This is your keyword that you have to remember. So basically the occupational safety, health and working code, this is for those people who continuously migrate from one state to another. So as I told you, when we were talking about the laws, that each state has different laws, right? So when you go ahead and when you keep on migrating from one state to another, the important aspect here now becomes that under which state your labor laws will be covered. Will you be a part of the labor laws where you have gone ahead and you are working now, or where you belong to, right? So there were a lot of confusion that was taking place for this part. So therefore, we wanted to go ahead and we wanted to bring a unique code which could go ahead and take care of interstate migrants. So various provisions in the OSH. OSH is nothing but Occupational Safety, Health, Working Condition Code will ease lives of the interstate migrant workers. Anomalies of the Interstate Migrant Worker Act 1979 have been comprehensively addressed. So there were a lot of problems. पहले भी एक act exist करता था. That act was Interstate Migrant Worker Act 1979. But as I told you that since these acts had various problems, that is the reason why in the first go we had gone ahead and we had brought in these codes, right? So therefore this code was brought to resolve the anomalies of the Interstate Migrant Worker Act. Earlier, only workers appointed by a contractor were recognized as interstate migrant worker. However, under the new code, worker can be Atmanirbhar as they can now register themselves on interstate migrant worker on the national portal. बहुत important है. तो पहले ऐसा था कि सिर्फ अगर एक कॉन्ट्रैक्टर आपको बुलाता है एक स्टेट से दूसरे स्टेट पे, वो आपको रजिस्टर करता है कि ये एक इंटरस्टेट माइग्रेंट वर्कर है. But अब आप खुद से जाकर you can go yourself on that portal and you can register yourself on the interstate migrant worker portal, right? And let me just quickly show you this thing. So if you go to the website of the labor ministry, you will be able to see कि वहां पर उन्होंने बहुत सारे एक्ट्स दिए हुए हैं कि इंटरस्टेट माइग्रेंट एक्ट क्या है, इंटरस्टेट वर्कमैन एक्ट क्या है, एंड अंडर दैट ओनली यू कैन गो अहेड एंड यू कैन रीड आउट what all things are important. Similarly, there is something which is known as, you can also search this and I will show you just in a while, Shram सुविधा पोर्टल. श्रम सुविधा पोर्टल, यहाँ पे जाके, this is a unified portal. हाँ, this basically has all the things required for a worker. Okay, this is created by Ministry of Labor and Employment. So on this unified Shram Suvidha portal, you can go ahead and you can register as interstate migrant worker, as interstate migrant worker. Okay, let me just see if I can quickly show you this. Shram Suvidha portal. This is your Shram Suvidha portal. And on this only, everything related to labor is available under one portal. Within this portal, you see this, that this has been created by Ministry of Labor and Employment. And within this portal, you can go ahead and you can register yourself. In the last class also, I showed you this thing that, you have these inspections that take place, right? And I showed you how the license is created for the inspections, right? So you can go ahead and you can register yourself here, right? And if you notice here, see here, it says the Ministry of Labor and Employment, through this notification for ease of compliance of labor law, reduce the number of registers to be maintained to 5 instead of 56 registers. तो वी आर ईजिंग आउट द प्रोसेस. पहले 56 अलग अलग रजिस्टर बनते थे सारी अलग अलग इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए, और अब हमने उनको सिर्फ 5 में कन्वर्ट कर दिया है. एंड विद इन दिस, इफ यू नोटिस, so I will talk about this also in a while, building and other construction worker, that also comes in this code only. But if you notice here, yahin par interstate migrant workmen act hai, right? So all workers ka data, ki who are the workers who are migrating from one place to another, that is also, it can also be now done here. You can register yourself. Okay, this is the application manual guide and how you can go ahead and register yourself. Everything is mentioned here itself. Okay, fine. Let's go back. So just remember the name of this portal. This is important from the point of view of labor economics. Okay, so once the labor has gone ahead and registered himself, then he will be given a lot of benefits, right? Benefits like, बहुत important benefit क्या है कि the most important issue arises that these people, a lot of them are below poverty line, right? Or on the verge of poverty line. So they need food at a lower price. They need to access the ration shops. So question aata hai that where they will be accessing these ration shops? Will they be accessing the ration shops in the area where they are working or area where their family is in the background? So all those things have been clarified through this code. By this provision, the worker would get a legal identity which would enable him to get benefits of all social security scheme. So you are getting a legal identity, and this is helping you get the different social security schemes. A provision has been made for employers to provide traveling allowance annually to an interstate migration worker for undertaking to and fro journey from his native place. तो ये इसी कोड के थ्रू now you will be getting a traveling allowance also, and that traveling allowance will basically help you to travel from one place to another, from the place where you are working and where your hometown is. Providing of appointment letter to the worker has also already been made mandatory. तो appointment letter भी worker को देना पड़ेगा. Mandatory free annual health checkup of worker to be provided by the employer. For worker engaged, so this is the next act जो अभी हमने वहां देखा ना, बिल्डिंग एंड अदर कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्क एक्ट. तो जो भी वर्कर बिल्डिंग में या कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्क में है, राइट, उन वर्कर्स को एक अलग फंड प्रोवाइड किया जाता है, उनको एक अलग बेनिफिट प्रोवाइड किया जाता है, बिकॉज दैट्स अ रिस्की जॉब, right? So the workers who are engaged in building and other construction work, they move from one state to another, the benefit from building and other construction worker cess fund will be provided. So from this fund that is created, benefit will be provided. Under one nation, one ration card on interstate migrant worker. So ये वाला problem I was talking about. Worker would get ration facility in the state he is working. जहां पे आप काम कर रहे हो आपको मिलेगा, और आपकी फैमिली को वहां मिलेगा जहां पे वो रह रहे हैं. So worker would get ration facility in the state he is working in, and remaining members will be given to avail the ration facility in the state they reside, right? Mandatory helpline facility in every state for resolution of interstate migrant grievances. So helpline facility has been created that you can call and you can get resolution for whatever grievances you have. National database to be created for interstate migrant workers. Just now I showed you, it was written that because of to remove the complexity, what has been done now, that instead of having 56 registers, more than 50 registers, you now just keep 5 registers. But वो 5 registers क्या हैं? Those registers are basically to keep the info